Well, hi, my name is Kathy Smith, and I am the Community Relations Director for Second Harvest Food Bank of Northeast Tennessee. Second Harvest is one of 5 food banks in Tennessee and one of 200 in the Feeding America system of food banks. But our mission is to secure and distribute food to nonprofit organizations and faith-based organizations that give food to people in need. We serve an 8 county area in Northeast Tennessee. That's everything from Hancock and Hawkins County up to Johnson County in the upper northeast corner of Tennessee. There's quite a bit of poverty in our region. Right now, I believe about 85,000 people are considered living in poverty in Northeast Tennessee, and based on income levels and the federal government guidelines for poverty. The food bank is a resource for a lot of people living in our region, in that we provide food for about 36,000 people every month through the charities and the organizations that we serve. And those organizations include just about any group you can think of that's giving food to people in need, like the Salvation Army, the Haven of Mercy, one of our local men's shelters, women's shelters. But not only homeless, we're also providing food for many families, seniors living on fixed income, and we are a resource for a lot of the different charities that give food out to people in need. So we have about 200 different charities that we serve in the 8 county region. Many churches that have food pantries come to Second Harvest. Also, different programs. There's a children's home that receives food from us as well. There's a process that these charities and organizations go through to receive food from Second Harvest. They make an application as to who they're going to be serving, how they're going to distribute the food, and how the food will be stored. We take that application and consider it, and the process is started to enable that group to come to the food bank to get food. Now, where do we get our food? We get our food from a variety of sources, including national donations from companies like Kellogg's and ConAgra Foods. So we do get national sources of food. Growers that may be as far away as California will work with the Feeding America system to let them know of surplus food that they have available. And then we work with Feeding America. They get in touch with the food banks across the country to let us know what kind of food's available. And then we can get that food for just getting it shipped to our food bank in Northeast Tennessee. Then we have local sources of food that we draw from, and those are many of the local retailers and restaurants. Even chain restaurants will donate prepared and perishable food to us. So probably about 70% of the food that we receive is in the form of perishable food donations from local donors. We get dairy products and prepared foods, meats, anything that is can be used and is still safe to use can be donated to the food bank. So we gather in all that food. We take in as much food as we can get, and we store it at our 25,000 square foot warehouse in Gray, Tennessee. And from that point, the charities come and pick up the food. So we're working on that all the time. Last year we distributed about 8 million pounds of food, and all of that went to feed the needy. So we're really a link between the food industry and the charitable organizations. The food bank does not serve individuals directly. As a rule, we work with the charities that provide food to people. We are a resource for those charities. Now, there are some exceptions. Through the years, the food bank has tried to fill what we call the unmet need, and that is where there's a need for food assistance in an area, and there is no pantry or soup kitchen. We focus a lot in our region on the rural areas and who's homeless in the rural areas, who's in poverty in the rural areas, and who is serving those people. And so realizing that there may not be a church or an organization to give out food in certain areas, we've developed what's called a mobile food pantry program. And that's where we work with organizations like volunteer fire departments or schools in those areas where sometimes small churches where we can just make arrangements to pull up our truck and give food directly to people right off the truck. So there is that situation where we do give food out directly. A lot of the soup kitchens and food pantries are located in the more urban areas, and so that program focuses more where there isn't a food pantry or soup kitchen. Also, one of our fastest growing programs in the last 5 years has been what's called our Food for Kids program, and that is where a bag full of healthy snacks is given to children every 2 weeks that they can take home from school and prepare on their own. This is shelf-stable food that doesn't necessarily require refrigeration, with pop-top lids and packaging that's easy for the child themselves to prepare, so that if there is a situation where they don't have enough food in the home, they can receive this bag of healthy snacks and easy-to-prepare meal items twice a month for the entire school year. The teachers, guidance counselors, school health professionals, and others in the school identify how many children they need to serve, and they tell us how many bags of food they're going to need for the year. And then we work to get the money to fill that need, because we have to special purchase these types of items for the children. We've heard many stories about how these bags are really helping a lot of families. I know in Johnson City, Tennessee, we work with the school homeless coordinator, and she coordinates that program for the school, for the city school system. And in the various counties, we work with the school family resource centers and other organizations. So that's been a really good outreach, and fills a lot of need, we think, as far as children getting enough nutrition. And there are so many studies that show how important that is, especially in the early years, and how it really helps with their learning. You know, one of the things that makes it a little bit difficult is how do you measure the effectiveness of some of these things that the food bank does, because but in the case of the Food for Kids, that's we actually survey the children, the parents, and the teachers to tell us how that program has made a change in that child's life at the beginning, the middle, and the end of that program. One concern that we have, and one reason our children's programs has grown so much, is because when school's out, then what do these children do to get food assistance? And so the food bank has expanded our summer food service program and has gotten involved with that, where we actually provide some food assistance during the summer months as well. But a lot of what we do is part of our national organization, which is called Feeding America. And Feeding America started in the 1970s, and again, is as a link between the food industry and people in need. So a lot of what we do is based on the guidelines and recommendations from our national organization when it comes to impacting some policy issues and other issues. Some of these programs I mentioned, like Food for Kids and the Mobile Pantry, those have been patterned after national programs. So we have the Feeding America organization has they are our link to Washington. They are our link to policy change, and they give us a lot of direction and guidance on different bills that might be up for renewal, or controversial bills and issues that we need to be aware of that impact providing food for people in need. I would recommend that people visit feedingamerica.org website, and also what's called the Hunger Action Center feedingamerica.org website. Those are both public sites that you can visit and get a lot of information on what is going on nationally with the issues of hunger and what you can do on a local level to impact change and get more information. So those are some areas that we work with on a national level. Like I say, Second Harvest Food Bank of Northeast Tennessee our mission is to secure and distribute food through nonprofit charities and faith-based organizations that serve people in need in the 8-county region. We are one of 200 Feeding America food banks in the country and one of 5 in Tennessee. And so the food bank system is just, I really believe in it, is a great resource maybe to keep people out of poverty, to keep people in their homes when we talk about the homeless, hunger and poverty issue as one and how they relate to each other, because the food resources that the food bank provides they help a lot of the working poor. They help a lot of people to make ends meet so that they don't have to spend a lot of their money on their food bill. One study just recently showed that food provided by Feeding America food banks was moving from being an emergency supply for food to a regular source of food for a lot of people for an extended period of time through a job loss or people just trying to get back on their feet. Maybe receiving some food assistance would help keep them in their home, keep them from being homeless, and give them encouragement and hope. You know, if you've got enough to eat, it changes your mindset sometimes. And there's also been more of a focus on nutrition nationally. There are so many different issues. There's been a tie between hunger and obesity. So the food banks have really tried to focus in a little bit more on nutrition and really help people live better and have enough food to eat. But our website is netfoodbank.org if you want to find out more about regional hunger. And if you want to find out about national hunger, I encourage you to visit feedingamerica.org. Again, my name is Kathy Smith, and I'm the Director of Community Relations for Second Harvest of Northeast Tennessee. If I can be of any assistance to any of you in your studies, I'll be happy to answer any questions.